Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I will not forget to thank those who have made this channel be where it is. All our viewers, our subscribers, those who take a moment to share their thoughts with me. Those are the people who are my heroes, and I want to salute you wherever you are. May God continue blessing you. And if you're watching our channel for the first time, please allow me on the same breath to request you to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. The Ruto administration is facing very many challenges, economic challenges that they don't know what to do. In a span of just 2 weeks, there have been erroneous reports about high taxes and levies that Kenyans cannot bear. Yesterday, they passed the very unpopular Finance Bill 2023, and today, William Ruto's right-hand man, Njuguna Ndugu, presented their maiden budget, a very ambitious budget, 3.6 trillion Kenyan shillings, the budget that carries their vision for Kenya, the budget that has really indicated how they have allocated money to the healthcare, education, to the Mamamboga and the Hustlers funds. It was very controversial, and of course, it forced the opposition to walk out. And Junet Mohammed said that the reason why they walked out is because they are not part and parcel of this budget, because they're saying that this budget is going to be burdensome to the common man. And so they want to really tell Kenyans that they are not part and parcel of this. And even as the government tries their best, is what they say, that they have stopped digging, they want to stop borrowing and really concentrate on taxation, because they are saying that they want to get part of this money from Kenyans. There is a hurdle that they are facing. The economic report indicates that the unemployment rate is very high. Youths don't have jobs, and several promises that they gave are not just working out. So they need investors to help them create jobs. The saddest part of it is that even the investors are now fleeing the country. And this is not petty politics, and the report and facts have not come from the opposition. Because if it comes from the opposition, then the blame game will be on Raila Odinga and the previous regime. See what is reported and the source, and you will understand what I'm talking about. It says that DP Rigathi Gachagua woos investors to Kenya, even as millionaires flee. He's trying to beg them, to beseech them to consider investing in Kenya, but they are fleeing the country because of several reasons. And this report is from an international firm called the Henley Private Wealth Migration. Let's just read very quickly. The Henley Private Wealth Migration Report 2023, produced by Henley and Partners in partnership with New World Wealth, and which tracks wealth and investment migration trends worldwide, shows that 84,000 of the world's high net worth individuals migrated last year. And this report continues to say, let's just read, that the report shows that 100 super rich individuals left Kenya in 2022 for various reasons, and a further 100 are projected to leave this year. It attributes political instability as among major reasons that caused the uber wealthy to migrate from one country to another, as well as higher taxes that make investing in a country less attractive. That is what is being talked about. So as Rigathi Gachagua is trying to beg these investors to stay, the question that many are asking, have they created an environment that will enable the investors to stay? Because one of the things that is being said there is that the investors left last year, and there is a projection that another 100 super rich investors are considering leaving the country. And one of the things that prompt them to leave is high taxation. You know, like I said earlier, for the better part of like the last fortnight, there has been outcry from Kenyans that the government has got this appetite of taxing every sector, and they have not spared even the investors, because the cost of doing business must also be cheap. If you read that report, it indicates that the cost of electricity is something that investors are crying for. When the cost of electricity is high, then it impacts on the investors. You know that the government has increased everything. And even then, this is why the people are saying that as the deputy president is telling the investors to stay, have they created that environment? The answer is obvious. They have not created that environment. So they will try wooing investors verbally, but the investors have got their own scrutiny mechanisms. When they scrutinize the situation in Kenya and they compare the cost of doing business in the neighborhood in Tanzania, in Kenya, you will realize that it's a little bit cheaper or much cheaper in East Africa or other neighboring countries. And this is something that is really going to be a setback to the government, because they need these investors to help them create more opportunities. The rate of unemployment is just too high. Youths graduate every day, but they don't know where to go. They need to create businesses. There are no opportunities. So if these investors are given an opportunity, a better opportunity to invest in our country, then it will help the government to absorb many of our people who are unemployed. The other thing that they're talking about that is a cause of this mass exodus to other countries is political stability. Investors would want a situation where we don't have protests happening every day. They want a situation where they can trust that whatever they have invested will not go down the drain within 1 hour when people demonstrate and we have rowdy youths. Now the problem that we have with the government is that their tendency even to sponsor goons when people are going for demonstrations has been highlighted internationally. The CNN, Al Jazeera and the BBC. When Raila called the first demonstrations after elections just 2-3 months ago, the government, presided by not just members of parliament but the highest authority, the DP, presided over goons, and they chided them, they charged them to go and invade Uhuru's Northland farm. They burnt churches and torched mosques. And so when the investors look at what is happening, the government that is supposed to create this conducive environment is the one that is in the engineering political instability. How then do you expect investors to rely on such an environment? They have seen what is happening. If you have a government that does not even respect the immediate former commander-in-chief, how do you think the investors will trust you? If you have someone, for example, from Ghana, just a mere business person, do you think they will trust you investing in your soil when you don't even respect your former leaders, an immediate former president? You invade their land. What are you telling them? If you don't respect, because if you look at the family of Uhuru Kenyatta, they are also investors. When investors look at you and they see how you invade a land and you carry the animals like they carried sheep, when you send youth to go and invade Raila's industry, that company that was invaded, East African Spectrum, well, the investors will not trust you because they see the way you are dealing with their leaders. If you can kill your brother, then how much more easy will it be for you to kill a stranger? And these are things that the investors are crying for about. They must also look at what the root cause of the demonstration. We have in our country a constitution that allows demonstrations, a peaceful one of course. But if they don't look at the root cause, then people will be prompted to go to the streets. In the last 2 weeks alone, you saw the unions going back to the streets to lament on the 3% deduction that has now become a tax. It's not a levy. It's not now an investment anymore. It's tax that will not come back to our Kenyans. These are the things, and this is the reason why they have fled. Now, it is the responsibility of the government to avert what has been reported, that there is another 100 that is projected to leave. You see, we are not talking about one investor or two. We are talking about not even 50, but 100. I want you to calculate 100 investors or 100 companies. Each company, let's say that each company has employed maybe just 100 people. 100 by 100, how many people will be rendered jobless? And you consider those who are employed sometimes have got their dependents. One person pays school fees for their sisters or their brothers. One is taking care of the parents. We are sinking deeper and deeper, an economic debt that we will not be able to come out. So, ladies and gentlemen, our deputy president, our president, the leader of the budget, and of course the leader of the majority leader in the National Assembly must look into this, because this is a very bad report. They need to do something. It is not just about, talking to them nicely. These are people who know, they have the technical know-how to see whether we have a conducive environment. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying in a nutshell is that this is bad news, and it is bad news to Kenyans because we are losing jobs. If your company that you're working for has been closed, then you have to go back and sit and try thinking of what you need to do. It is high time that this government stops politicking, stop blame game, sit down with the think tanks and see how they can woo back investors. Let me tell you, when this regime fails, Kenya fails. It is like we are in this vehicle called Kenya. We don't have any other vehicle. If it succeeds, we succeed. And ladies and gentlemen, we need to call upon the government to change the economic policies. And that is my take.